Welcome to 3 terrific tips for filming your videos. Please click the wow button to let me know that you're there. Hello, my name is Chris Ann Murphy, and also known as Calligraphy My Name on Facebook and Instagram. The reason I'm bringing this to you is because I feel very strongly about presenting an excellent video. Good to see you there. I have produced over 200 videos in the last 6 months on Instagram and Facebook, and that's why I am bringing this to you today. Thank you for showing up. Thanks for being here. And if you're on a replay, just let me know where you're coming from. So I'm presenting 3 terrific tips. The very first tip I have for you today is to create great power. And by power, I mean light. Right now, the light on me is a natural light. And so I'm going to talk about 2 types of light, natural light and then reflected light. So the natural light would be the ideal. That's really what you want. You want natural light, but I don't use this to film my calligraphy because I can't control it. I film often at night, or I film when on a cloudy day, so I'm using reflected light. And you can see I have 2 lamps. I have a ring light and I also have a clamp light over here. Would you please just tag somebody? I'm going to switch us around, so while I do that and I change the perspective on the camera, would you tag somebody you think might like to see this? Okay, as you can see, I have the light for my window over here. Excuse me for adjusting that, but it's not quite sufficient, and if it were night it wouldn't do me any good at all. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit. So on my right I have a lamp, and I'm going to turn it on there. Now, so you can see there's still a lot of shadow, but I want to show you what I use for reflected light. Here's a piece of white matte board which I use. Okay, so the light goes here and I put it back here to have a reflected light there. Now, another more convenient, really, because it stands up on itself, thing that I use for reflected light is just a display board. It's white on the inside and it stands up on itself. So I'm going to put this back here and show you that's what I use. And of course, when you're videoing, you don't want that to be seen, so I'm going to do that. So this is a nice setup with this light, but it's not quite right because you see the shadow from the right over my shoulder. Here we go. I'm going to turn my ring light on. If you're interested in that, I can tell you this is a more expensive venture. There are some ring lights that are small that won't cost you much, and you might want to start there depending on what your goal is. The second terrific tip is to create a great position. Now, my camera right now is overhead and I am using a clamp. It's really look at that moon baby. It's simply a baby monitor clamp, and the reason I like that is because it's easy to get my camera in and out. Right? I use 2 perspectives, overhead and table view. Now, it's very important, especially because what we're talking about is calligraphy, to get your perspective so that your viewers will see it. If your work is like this, I mean, you've seen a little bit of everything, I'm sure, as I have on Instagram, that you want to be able to see the lettering. So I use an iPhone 7 to film, and it clamps easily overhead, but I also began to use 2 iPhone 7s, and I would put 1 table view. Now, here's a tip. You can simply use a jar with your markers in there, and you can set it up like that. Now, again, that's the horizontal view, and if you want to, you can use the camera like this and adjust your views like that. All right? Does that make sense? All right. You might have some questions and I can answer those at the end. Or if you need a lower view, you can always use this. Okay? So the second terrific tip is to make sure that your position is right. It depends on the type of purpose of your calligraphy. For example, I have posted name videos, like I said, for the last 6 months, and I consider that more entertainment or happy for someone rather than educational. So I have two different perspectives. So the third tip that you need to know is to create a great production. If you have been working on your calligraphy and you are ready to show the world how great that is, then you want to produce something. Now let me just show you this idea here that I realized, that if you've been working on your calligraphy and you're asking me, hey, do you think it's okay? You know, is it time for me to do a video? And I would say, if you are at your maximum, it's only half. If you spent your time working on your production only half, you have to have the whole picture. So I would say if you are spending an hour on calligraphy, make sure that you're spending an hour on video production to understand what is the best way to present your work. And I have a suggestion for you. I am not selling anything. I'm not working for anyone. I just want to share this from my heart. But I have used LumaFusion app on my phone from the beginning. And let's see, watching from Indianapolis, great. And hi, Laura, and from Dia in Durham, and from Connecticut. I'm so excited to see everybody here this morning. So LumaFusion is an app that you can buy for one price, and that's what I appreciate. I think it's a reasonable price. As a matter of fact, right now I believe it's even on sale. If you're interested, please send me a note right now. Just stick it in there. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about that, I can make a video to give you an introduction to that. It has helped me through creating a Skillshare class and also all of my videos on Facebook and Instagram. So I highly recommend it. So questions that you need to ask yourself when you are producing your video is, what is the purpose? So I mentioned this already, but is the purpose educational? That would make a difference on your perspective, and it may make a difference in how you're producing your video. And also, what is the speed that you're going to produce it? Whether you use like iMovie or some other app that you are familiar with, or if you're starting from ground zero, I'm going to suggest you start with LumaFusion. You need to know what speed and length. Now, just to let you know, on my name videos, I use, I set it at 3 times the speed. Okay, so if I do have produced something that is very slow so that you can see the motion, but my purpose for my name videos are mostly just entertainment. So that is I'm able to do that on LumaFusion, and I'm able to clip, and as you can see from them, if you're familiar with them, I have different perspectives and it's a little bit more entertainment, and I think it's very doable. Another thing you need to know about is length. So Instagram, for example, will let you post a 60-second video. There is a hack. You can produce 60 second, 60 second, 60 second, and put it in the slot where, like, if you were going to post more than one picture, you would just post all of your videos. But I would suggest that you get a good app. Instagram, if your video is longer than 60 seconds, they will ask you to move on to Instagram TV, which is also an option. You may want to do that. It depends on your purpose, but I would say videos 15 to 60 seconds, or you can accomplish a lot in that amount of time. My light, this is my clamp light. Do you see that there? And turn off my ring light. Now, I also want to say here, just as an aside, I used to put my camera here in my ring light, but it was hard to get it at the location that I wanted it. For example, a question might be, how long does it take me to produce one video? Now that, in the beginning, of course, it took longer, and if I had somebody helping me the whole time, it would have helped even more, like I could help you. It takes me from, let's just imagine that I'm doing a name video, and I take time to write it out in pencil, I write it out in calligraphy, and then I am ready for my setup. I have my lights, I put it on my table, film it. I film it from two perspectives. I put it in LumaFusion. I think that I would say it takes me about 15 minutes to produce one name video. Now, is that worth it? Yes, it is. In the beginning, of course, it took me longer. If I had somebody to help me, like hopefully I could help you, then it probably wouldn't have taken me so long to get started. The app LumaFusion, right now I believe it's on sale for $20, and it's a one-time fee. Maybe it's regularly $30 or $40, but believe me, it is definitely worth the time. And some people want to know how long I've been doing calligraphy, because that's a question too. Did I just pick it up yesterday and start producing? Actually, no. I learned calligraphy in the late 70s. I worked as a calligrapher for several years, and then I took a break for 30 years. Back then, I was using a dip pen and an ink, and using doing copper plate and all that. And now, speed forward into the modern world, and I have really enjoyed using all the available markers that they have out there. So that's been fun. Please follow me. If there are any other questions, you can always message me and send me a DM, and we could take care of it that way. I appreciate you coming from very far away and near, and for the support today. If you haven't followed me on Instagram, please do that so we can stay in touch. I will let you know when I produce LumaFusion app. And I would also like to ask that when you produce something, would you please tag me? Because, you know, I'm your biggest fan. I want to be there for you, and I want to answer your questions and help you get your work out there. All right, so this is 3 terrific tips for filming your calligraphy with Chris-Ann Murphy of Calligraphy My Name for Lovely Loops Calligraphy Community Group.